All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the God Next podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Baldwin, with my co-host Donovan Moore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And NBA season is over, unfortunately, but we have a lot to get into today. So, without further ado, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that type of stuff, man. And we're gonna get right into the intro.
You ready, Playboy?
Yo, turn it up, Slay. I can't hear nothing.
All right, man. We back at y'all, man. So today we're just gonna be talking about, a little bit of topics surrounding the finals and things like that. So without further ado, let's hop right into it, man. Is Stephen Curry a top 10 player of all time, man? He's got the finals MVP, the ever so illustrious finals MVP he's been looking to get for years. That's been the one slander on him. Everybody's been able to say I have as many finals MVPs as Steph Curry. That is no longer the case. So how do you feel about Steph Curry being a top 10 player of all time now?
In my opinion, before these finals even started, he was already a top 10 player to play basketball. I just feel like after this championship, you got to put him in that top 5 conversation. I just feel like to be one of the greatest players ever played a game, you have to be something the game's never seen before, and that's literally the definition of Steph. The game has never seen somebody like him before.
Nice.
In terms of handles, can just pull up from anywhere. So in my opinion, he's in the top 5 conversation.
Wow. Okay. So Magic Johnson or Steph Curry?
How many rings get Magic got? 4 or 5?
5.
So it's hard to put Steph over Magic right now because Magic he won in his rookie year, or like his second year in the league.
Yeah, he won it his rookie year, and Kareem won
started at center, and that
he started center. He had like 42-15 and something
Like, come on, but Steph is don't get me wrong, it's not like a far drop off between Magic and Steph. Like they both did it in different ways. They both brought like a certain uniqueness to the game of basketball that at the time nobody's seen in Magic, and then at our current time now, nobody has seen anything like Steph until like more players like Trae Young and all that came into the league. So I feel like Steph's at the president for a lot of young guys that we see in the league now that could shoot and handle the ball really well. But Magic or Steph, I'll probably still give I don't know, because they both had pretty solid teams with Hall of Famers and things like that.
Right.
And they both weren't great on the defensive end either. Damn. I'll probably still give the edge to Magic. You got to go with the rings at that point. They got the same accolades, same everything. You got to give the edge to Magic.
All right. So for me, I can't put Steph top 5 of all time just because I think that you got to show, like, for me personally, I like to make like my 5 like a lineup, literally.
Yeah.
Like I got to have one of every position in my 5.
Mm-hmm.
So then Steph is in that second 5 though. So he's probably he is top 10 for me. Like, especially after the finals MVP. I thought before the finals MVP, but now it's like he's got 2 MVPs, 2 scoring titles,
4 championships.
4 championships in 8 years.
And he was All-Star MVP this year.
All-Star MVP. And on top of that, he changed the game. Like he literally changed the game, the way we play the game today. So I think he's easily top 10. I think a lot of people were talking about, is Steph better than KD all time? I think so. I don't even like particularly think it's close, because I think Steph was winning championships before, during, and after the KD era. KD was not winning them before. He was only winning them during, and then hasn't really made a conference final since. So like, it's like he has double his amount of MVPs because Steph has 2. He has double his championships because Steph has 4. So it's like, I don't know how you can put KD over top of Steph all time. So I think Steph is definitely above KD all time, and I think Steph is definitely a top 10 player. But moving on to the next thing to talk about, man. Let's talk about Jayson Tatum, man, the star for the Boston Celtics. I saw a graphic, that said he led the entire NBA in playoff turnovers this season, unfortunately. So, and then, of course, last night, what do you have, 12, 13 points or something like that?
Yeah, not a great performance.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about Jayson Tatum, man. Where you like, how did this series kind of mold your vision of Jayson Tatum and how you see Jayson Tatum?
So it didn't really change how I view him, honestly. Because he's still very young. And every year he's been in the league, he's gotten better. He's worked on things. This year, honestly, was probably the best we ever seen him playmaking wise. He was playing very well. Like making plays for others throughout this series. But in terms of the scoring that we've seen for him all postseason, I don't know what happened to it. Got to give props to Andrew Wiggins, of course. Andrew Wiggins had himself a great postseason, and he was playing some defense. That man, he earned his money. Whoever gives it to him, he earned it. So definitely props to Andrew Wiggins. But I feel like it just showed me Jayson Tatum still has a few places to improve on his game. I feel like Golden State just pointed out some of his weaknesses offensively, like when he goes left, he's more prone to turn it over. Just things like that. But at the same time, he's like 24, so I feel like he still has a lot of room to get better. So I feel like with a couple tweaks, Boston could be right back in the hunt to contend. They really killed themselves, in my opinion, with the turnovers. That was more so my thing. So the turnovers, and I think he'll be fine. He'll be top 10 player in this game for a long time.
This series kind of did change my opinion of Jayson Tatum just because I thought Jayson Tatum was, a superstar. I'm thinking that he's like, a Jokic or an Embiid or something like that. And he's not that. I hate to say it, but he's just not that. I think he's closer to of course you're in the hot and cold takes chat with me. So I saw somebody compare him to PG 13, and I think that that's a really good comparison. Because PG's not really, he was never really a superstar except for that one season at OKC where he had that MVP season. But outside of that, like PG is a very, very good player.
Very skilled.
Yeah, very skilled player. I think Jayson Tatum and him are kind of a lot alike, to be honest with you. Both kind of like the same size, both can shoot from the perimeter, create their own shot. Also pretty good playmakers when they need to be. So yeah, I like that comparison. But to make that comparison, you have to admit that Jayson Tatum is not a superstar. And in my eyes, he's definitely not a superstar at this point. I think that he's like a tier below Luka Doncic and those guys. Like I feel like Jayson Tatum and Devin Booker are on that same tier right now. I feel like they are on the exact same tier right now. So I would that's the only thing that kind of changed my opinion of this. But as you know, I had Warriors at 6 from the very beginning. Like I just didn't see the Celtics really having enough to really get over the hump here. Because I mean, if you're relying on guys like Derek White and Al Horford to give you points at the end of the day, that's probably not going to be the best thing for you in the long run. And it would have been even worse if the Warriors had James Wiseman or any sort of an athletic like center that like a Robert Williams or something like that could just, block shots and really protect the rim. I think it would have been much worse than it was. So, but yeah, so overall, I don't think my opinion swayed that much, but just a little bit where like Jayson Tatum has to prove it to me now that he's a superstar.
I feel that.
Yeah. But, going from there, you said the word improve. So how can the Celtics improve from here? I think for me, they need a point guard, man. I've been saying this. If you got Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown that are exceptional scorers when they want to be on good nights or whatever, but I feel like they also take a lot of tough shots. It's a lot of dribble pull-ups. It's a lot of post fadeaways and stuff like that. Stuff that like they can hit it on a good night. It's not that they can't hit the shots. It's just that you can get easier shots if you have a point guard that's like telling you, hey, like JT, you're not gonna run in the paint and try this Euro step over 3 people. You know what I'm saying? Like pull it out. Let's be patient with it. Let's get a good shot. That's what I think the Celtics have been missing for years at this point. I feel like they haven't really had that since Rondo, and they can get. I think that they really need to look into getting rid of Marcus Smart. Man, I hate to say it, but he brings a lot on the defensive end. But offensively, at the end of games, you're gonna need that guy that can tell you where to go in certain spots and can like slow down the game and like really control the pace of the game and tell people where to go and like get good shots, get easy shots for Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown because a lot of shots they take are difficult. So. How do you feel about where the Celtics can improve from here?
So I feel like the Marcus Smart thing is a tough one because this is honestly probably like the first real chance I feel like Boston has given him since he's been there to kind of just be the main guy, be the point guard, and they made it all the way to the finals. So Marcus Smart is definitely like a valuable piece to that team. He's like I feel like without him, like we saw the one game I think he missed against the Heat in the conference finals. I think y'all blew them out like when Marcus Smart didn't play.
Yeah.
So it's a major difference when he's not on the court for Boston. I feel like he's a key piece, but I also agree with what you're saying. How they need that type of point guard that kind of can just like settle them down, like you said, and just consistently knock down like open jump shots that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown can create. And I feel like the problem with Marcus Smart sometimes he's a little erratic with his shot making. So like if he makes a couple, then he'll keep shooting. But
Yes.
also if he misses a couple, he'll keep shooting or he'll like force shots.
Right.
So I feel like that's kind of a problem. They need somebody that can just like steady the ship a little bit. I don't really know what point guards are really out there that could be like a major help to them.
And that's another thing. I think that old traditional point guard of like, I'm not going to score all the time. I don't know if that's really around anymore, but I think that I feel like now it's more of an offensive thing where like your point guard is like he's so much of a threat on offense that like he can facilitate when you have to like really key in on him. That's like Steph. Like Steph is a really good passer because like when defense is keying on him, like he's not afraid to make the extra pass and he can facilitate offense through that. So I mean, I don't know who they could pick up like that. I mean, Chris Paul's kind of past his prime at this point.
I feel like it would also be kind of hard, like bring somebody in after the year Marcus Smart just had, because he could be taking that as disrespect. Like, dang, bro, I just won Defensive Player of the Year. We made it all the way to the finals, and y'all bringing somebody else in to like kind of take my spot, so to speak. So
I mean, I can see it, but I mean, this is the highest Marcus Smart's trade value is going to be, and it's the highest it's been in years. So I've been saying to get rid of Marcus Smart before now. I think this is really the time to cash in because he's, like you said, Defensive Player of the Year, and Celtics were one of the better defensive teams in the league this year. But I think that Tatum and Brown honestly can ride. I think that they can steady the ship defensively, and Horford's not bad. I mean, you got Derek White. You have other like defensive weapons. I think that you just need somebody on offense that can tell people what to do and like not just let Jayson Tatum dribble and like create for himself, because as you can see, that's going to lead to turnovers and stuff. And like he's too big to be on the outside sometimes. Like he got to remember he's 6'10" sometimes. Like
he's still for that step back or the side step.
Yeah, like bro, like somebody got to remind him you don't have to shoot a step back every time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Marcus Smart not going to do that because then Marcus Smart going to come down and shoot him a step back, or he going to post up. Like you don't need a post up guard like for the Celtics. That's not what they need. So I don't know. I think that's how they can improve honestly going forward. And maybe Robert Williams is actually proven. He's kind of proven himself to me.
He was only, what was he, like 70% this whole postseason, and he was
with a knee injury, mind you, with a knee injury the entire time. He wasn't even.
He played his heart out. That's one person I don't want anybody questioning his heart or what he did out there. That man, he gave it his all.
Yeah,
almost one leg essentially. He was blocking shots, running the floor. Like he tried his best to pump that crowd. Him and Al Horford and Jaylen Brown. Those are three dudes yesterday that played their heart out. And nobody else matched their energy. I felt like.
Absolutely. And there's always room for Marcus Smart on the Miami Heat. But next up, we're gonna he'd be a great fit. I'm not gonna lie. He'd be a great fit. But last but not least, man, is this the Warriors' last ring?
Honestly, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I just feel like with how this year went, they'll definitely still be in the running for. With the way Steph keeps himself in shape, they'll be.
Wiseman is coming back.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And then Kuminga's still getting better. Moody's getting better. Andrew Wiggins, they'll probably bring him back. I'm assuming they'll figure out a way to.
It's a lot of money that's going to be tied up in the Wiggins and Poole.
And then they got to figure out a way to bring Gary Payton back because Lil Gary can ball, man.
I think they're going to lose somebody, but I feel like they can't let it be Poole or Wiggins, so it might end up being GP2 or 3,
which is unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate, but it is.
I feel like Moody could step up in that place. But the Warriors, they're going to be right there neck and neck for a while with a lot of teams. Honestly, they could win another ring, but you never know in the NBA. Injuries happen. Some guys surprisingly retire. Some people start to take steps back. I feel like Draymond Green might start to decline a little bit. We saw in this finals, besides like game 5 and 6, he was awful.
Yeah,
he was terrible. And that's just putting it nicely. He wasn't really hooping for real besides the last 2 games. So I feel like maybe Draymond can slowly start to decline. I feel like his intensity won't kind of rail off, but I feel like teams will start disrespecting him even more on the offensive end. That can kind of clog things up for Golden State, but they'll still be in the hunt. And then the West, the league's evolving every year. You don't know who's going where, who's coming up. So I think so as of now, but anything can happen.
I'm gonna say no. I think the Warriors can win one more ring. One more ring. I think this year it was a little bit easier for them because a lot of injuries happened out west, with the Clippers not really being in full contention. Um, the Jazz are frauds, so I don't know what they're gonna do to kind of
The Lakers got a Westbrook injury.
Jamal Murray's coming back, MPJ is coming back. Luca and the Mavericks already look better. Honestly, let's talk about the Christian Wood thing after this too.
Okay.
So I think that it's going to be a lot more teams, but I mean the Warriors are always kind of going to be a favorite against a lot of those teams. Anyway.
They're always going to be in the mix for sure.
Yeah, they're always going to be in the mix. So like you just never know. I think another offseason for Clay to just be able to rehab his leg and like actually like work on basketball skill instead of like just only rehabbing his leg. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he's only really going to get better. And honestly, they won the game last night with Clay not even really playing that well. So yeah. I think that's even more scary. So yeah, definitely look out for the Warriors going forward. And last but not least, I did not create a banner for it, so we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Christian Wood to the Mavericks, man. I hate the move personally. I give the Rockets an A. No, I give the Rockets a B on the move. I give the Mavericks a C- on the move. I'm going to tell you why. The Rockets, while they got the 26th pick, I think that they could have gotten a higher pick for Christian Wood. Just flat out. I don't think that they had to settle for a 26th pick. It's not that high of a pick. It can really go either way at that point. It is good that they're getting draft capital, though, just so that they can, keep their roster younger and whatever like that. But 26 pick, I think, is terrible. And then you get back no rotation players. You get no solid rotation players back. Like Trey Burke, come on. He's not going to get any meaningful minutes. The big man, Marjanovic, Boban, he's big, but come on, bro. He's not doing anything. The Mavericks didn't even for real. Basically, the Mavericks cleared out everybody on their bench that would not get actual playoff minutes and gave them to the Rockets and then wound up with Christian Wood. So in that aspect, I like it for the Mavericks because they didn't give up any actual rotational pieces. Like, they still have Bertans, they still have Kleber, they still have Dwight Powell, they still have Tim Hardaway. So they kept a lot of their core, but is Christian Wood it? Like, if this is the only move that they make in the offseason, this is a bad move, like, honestly, because Christian Wood is not good on defense. Let's keep it a buck. He is not good on defense, and if you watch Rockets games, he takes bad shots. He takes terrible shots, bro. Like, even when he misses, he gonna jack up some threes. Like, he's like Kristaps Porzingis in that way. Like, he will jack up some threes for sure, and he's not the greatest off the dribble, and even less when you're playing with Luka Doncic and Tim Hardaway and Jalen Brunson, who have to dribble the ball. So, like, he's not really going to get that many touches. And on the Rockets, I've seen a lot of times where he gets the ball, where he doesn't get the ball for, like, a few possessions, and he kind of checks out. And, like, when he's not really getting fed the ball and the offense isn't around him, you can tell that he doesn't really like that. He gets upset about that. So, hopefully he can adapt to that with the Mavericks. But if this is the only move that they make, I hate it. So, how did you feel about the move?
So I remember when we were talking about it the other day, I feel like this is almost like the black Porzingis, really.
Yes. Yes.
Like he does the same. I just feel like he'll be a healthier version. I don't think you watch way more Rockets games than me. I don't really think Christian Wood misses many games due to injuries.
He doesn't, but a lot of his minutes were just getting taken by Şengün. So I think that they just really opened it up for Şengün basically to get all the minutes.
So I feel like, he'll definitely be available. And Porzingis wasn't bad when he was with the Mavericks. When he was available, the Mavericks they were decent. They could have beat the Clippers in the bubble, I think it was, and then Porzingis got hurt or something like that, and then it went downhill. But I feel like Wood is definitely a solid piece. I don't think he'll be the piece to get where they really want to go. I feel like they're missing that like defensive presence.
Right.
So if they can bring in like another like interior piece and then still have Christian Wood,
yes. Well, then I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. You know what I'm saying? And it would have to be a solid defensive piece. Like even it doesn't have to be somebody exceptional. Like even if you get a JaVale McGee or something like that,
that's solid. I wouldn't mind.
Like that's solid to be back.
Or like DeAndre Ayton. If they got DeAndre Ayton,
that's who they should have got.
Yeah, he's a free agent, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think he's gonna leave. I think he might the Hornets. Definitely look out for Hornets. I mean, there's only really 3 open center spots. It was gonna be the Mavericks, the Hornets, and there was one more, the Hawks, or Utah or whatever. I think it was one of those things. But anyway,
probably so. But yeah, so I feel like if Wood, if he goes into the season as their starting center, then it's like, But if they have like a solid center next to him, and then he's right there at the 4, and then
he's on the 4. I like it.
Pick and roll. It's a great move, but right now I feel like it's a solid move. I don't think it's a bad move. It's a solid one. And then the Rockets, I mean, everybody knows they're just trying to rebuild themselves. So I mean, it doesn't really matter who they acquired and what they got, because they're probably just going to do something else with it. Maybe flip it for more picks or just take back.
And they're just trying to clear room for Paolo and Şengün. So I understand it in that aspect. But I think that's everything that we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me go ahead and throw the socials up here for real quick, man. Check us out on Instagram, man. And we'll catch y'all later, bro. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.